this knowledge, we create this study, and when we create this, we have power, and when we have power, we are using the force, that is our tools, what we learn, to achieve power, and the power is your self-realization. The power is a state of shaman. The power is you have all this knowledge without any regret, you know, because sometimes we get knowledge and we regret that we have knowledge, because if we don't apply the knowledge, we create karma. That's what we think. It's not exactly like this. But when you have this assurance, and we have this knowledge, and you know you can apply, you have the power. That's when you turn into be a shaman, not sing. It's like always I comment, you know, any healer, any person that offers service in this area, always you have to see what kind of life the person has, because you know you can have the knowledge, but you don't have the power, because you don't have power over your own life to take care of yourself, right? Don't you agree? That so you have to see where is the characteristic, how the nature is working, what for the person, you know. Now I go to enter in something that I thought I would start with this, but now that I said all this, I think you are familiar with this, but this is very, very interesting for us to understand where we are walking in our life. We know that when we are in the womb, before we're born, we are receiving all this current of energy from the mother. So everything started there before, but you know, the one that go to deliver you, the one, you know, that's supposed to take care of you for this time that you have to be in the home, the mother, you know, is the one that is assisting you with this energetic. Because while you are there until the umbilical cord is separate, you are receiving all this nutrition, you are receiving all the lymph, you are receiving everything from the mother. Look at the responsibility. The responsibility that the mother has to bring the spirit in a state, almost the patai. So a mother can bring a child to the world in a state of patai if she wants. And that's beautiful. So the life, this spirit that is being in the womb of the mother and raised in accordance with what we accept that's a good way to live, can be a happy spirit, right? Because all this go to apply. So we have, I think, we have the obligation to educate mothers if they ask, of course. But you know, there are things that we see out there, you know, probably don't see too much, but we hear, we read, you know, how some mothers, you know, don't take this so serious, you know, how they behave. They think when you are pregnant you can have a normal life and do whatever you want, you know. It's a big responsibility. You are share your mental thoughts. You are share everything, you know, and pass it for this being. So, because of that, and because we are independent, because we came here just to be free and make our own choices, this go to affect us from when we born until 3 years. That's the first phase of the childhood. Go to affect us from 3 years old to 7. That is the second phase of childhood. The spirit is still in the guidance of the mental of the parents. I wouldn't say at this point just the mother, because it's out of the womb, you know. But the environment, wherever reflect outside, this is spirit, you know, because this is the spirit. Can be a child of 3, but it's the spirit with a mission here, you know, to accomplish. Is receiving all this from the family, from the environment, you know. When passed to the 7, we know, we talked about this before, the spirit get a kind of freedom, because that's the phase of the third childhood that the spirit get personality. The spirit get starting molding a personality, but you see that this personality is an imitation from what this spirit is being watching, you know, and depends where the growing of the spirit, you know, if it's a spirit that is enlightened than the parents, you know, the spirit can turn around and say, no, I don't like this, I go to do that, you know. And came the after that from 7 and 14, you know, that is the rebellion, you know. And if you can understand more deeply, you know, what is going there is a spirit that's trying to create their own characteristic and personality. And we have to respect this, you know. And that's education, this phase is so important. But education for me is based on the example. It's not in rules, it's example. You know, if the spirit, you know, wanted the security of a good example, you know, and the start. And after we go for the teenage age, that is from 14 to 25. I don't believe we have anyone here in this category anymore. And after we enter, and I thought was very interesting, we enter in the adult that is 25 to 35. And that's when we establish our happiness. Isn't super? I thought it was brilliant. I said, we have 10 years to establish if you want to be happy or not. Base it in the way you are living. Base it what you see around the world, you know. And I believe it with my heart, you know. If you read the news, you know, if you read the books, you get well informed, because most you get just not so good news. But there is a lot of beings in this age doing tremendous work for the humanity, doing tremendous things for themselves, very, very aware, you know. They took this serious and they decided to do 25 to 35. They decide, I want to be happy. And I think this is brilliant. I think this is so beautiful, you know. You have this right to decide if you want to be happy or not. End the conversation, right? And that's your chance, that's your chance. So when we talk about our possibilities, that's one example. It's our possibilities, it's all inserted there. It's how we grow, you know. And you see how patient the parents has to be in this phase too, you know. Because 25 to 35, they are established a behavior to be happy. And if you are patient, if you guide well, it's 25 to 35. You know, don't think because they turn 18, they have a life figured out. No, they go to establish this based on what's coming. You know, how they are growing. You know, and that's is brilliant. Every place I see the word happiness, I feel very happy. Because I think that's what the world needs, not else than happiness. If we are happy, you know, many things wouldn't be the way they are. So after we go for maturity, that's over 35, and we see that what I'm saying here doesn't mean that's what happened. There is a lot, a situation that doesn't happen this way, and we know people after 35 that it's not mature. It's their choice. They had a choice, you know. So that's is beautiful too. I think I have people here in this phase now. In this area here. Yeah? Okay. Yeah. So that is the age that we started, and that's why I thought it was beauty. The sense of beauty we develop in this area here, the sense of beauty. I think it's more we accommodate more, and we can observe beauty, we can appreciate beauty, we can give more value to beauty, in any way, because beauty can be expressed in so many ways. Beauty can be expressed in words, can be expressed in art, it can be expressed in the nature, beauty is always there. But if you have the sense of beauty, you start being mature, because that's what you want for your life. You want beauty, you want to be happy. So you establish who you want to be as a spirit. And our possibilities, you see how many years? It's not like tomorrow we have to figure out. It's like they are giving, they are giving, they are giving. And besides giving us all these opportunities, they give us bodies, they give us the energetic, they give us prana, they give us everything. It's an open world for us to achieve, and be happy. Perfection, we start being more, develop the sense of perfection. And of course, one that could not be missing, good choices, right? So in this area here is when the spirit start looking more for these things as important things in the life. And after we go for the other stage, there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 50th stage, right? Okay, the 50th stage is the senior, and that's the stage of Patai. That again, you'll be the result of your experiences. So put all together, all the information, how you are using your possibilities for healing, you go to reach the state of Patai, right? So it's your behavior based in how you are progressing in your life, how many times you get stressed, how many times you force yourself to things that you don't want anymore, And there is, of course, this is very overlooking, there is so many characters, so many things that we are being every day, we have to battle, we are being tested, we are being tested in food, we are being tested in our faith, we are being tested in so many things, for us to reach this point, and say, no, what I want is the Patai in my life. I don't think this could be just, you have to wait this. You can start this here. You can look up, but that's the tendency, the natural spiritual tendency of the individuals to follow in this category, but doesn't mean you cannot get there early in your life, and feel that you are blessed, feel that you are in peace, feel many things you don't need to wait for. And the other one, I think it's Senile. Is when we get tired and we get weak, but it doesn't mean you lose. You are losing this. You're still the same person. It's just your organs is not accomplish more what used to be because the natural way that you go in life. So this categories for me, I thought was very important for us to understand how we can handle our life in accordance, even if we don't have, let's go to say, I didn't have all this information before, so now I'm a senior, so I didn't have all this information, I didn't know all these things could cause this stress in my body, I didn't know that I could meditate, but what I see is like, it's not that you don't want, you cannot apply this to your life, you still can apply this to your life at any point. This doesn't has to follow order. Anytime that you are aware, anytime that you awake in your mind, anytime that you feel is necessary, because your spirit, here show, your spirit is much more detached, of course, from the material life, from your words, your anxiety, your wishes, in this stage, of course, because you had almost everything, so you can accommodate and look for yourself, for your spiritual life, And that's why we see more people in this category looking for this kind of life of meditation, self-realization, healing, because it's easy to adapt. It's a natural part of our mechanism, who we are as a spirit. But we have to see what for me is interesting, that always here there is a choice, a freedom of choice, but there is the voice of the spirit inserted there. It's not something that go to happen, oh, this is a phase. This is a phase of a teenager, you know. Oh, this adult doesn't know what wants, or this is mature. No, it's not mature. It is not just a phase in this sense. It's a spiritual tendency in how we behave as a spirit, because it's not just what they say, you know, teenager 14 is because it's a teenager. And that there is a spiritual thing there. That's when the healer that is well educated and should be educated go to introduce this with all the knowledge about merit, all the knowledge about karma, all the knowledge about freedom of choice, you know, respecting the person, and go to introduce this person, one of the most important things that we have to introduce as a healer. Okay, that is faith, right? The main thing that the healing should be doing is to introduce faith to the other person. But faith cannot be alone unless the healer has what? Oh, I put it there anyhow. Love. So the healing, the healer himself, you know,